Series 5000, Appendix E, ASSE Field Test Procedures using a 3-valve test kit. Double check valve assembly. First, flush the test cocks. Step number 1, install test adapters if applicable. Step number 2, open test cock number 4, let it trickle. Step number 3, open test cock number 1 and then close. Step number 4, open test cock number 2 and close. Step number 5, open test cock number 3 and close. Step number 6, close test cock number 4. Next, attach the test kit. Step number 1, close high and low valves and open bypass valve on test kit. Step number 2, attach high hose to test cock number 2. Step number 3, attach low hose to test cock number 3. Step number 4, open test cock number 2. Step number 5, open high valve, bleed air, and close. Step number 6, open test cock number 3. Step number 7, open low valve, bleed air, and close. Step number 8, attach bypass hose to test cock number 4. Step number 9, open low valve. Step number 10, loosen bypass hose at test cock number 4. Bleed the air and then tighten. Step number 11, close the low valve. Step number 12, open the high valve. Next, test number 1, tightness of number 2 shutoff valve. Step number 1, close the number 2 shutoff valve. Step number 2, open test cock number 4. Step number 3, close test cock number 2. Pause to allow gauge to readjust. Step number 4, read the differential gauge.
2.6.
Test results. If the differential gauge reading remains steady, record number 2 shutoff as tight.
It is.
Test number 2, tightness of number 1 check valve. Step number 1, close test cock number 4. Step number 2, close the high valve. Step number 3, remove the bypass hose from test cock number 4. Step number 4, open test cock number 2. Step number 5, open low valve to cause differential gauge reading to rise, and then close. Test results. Record the gauge value. If the differential gauge reading holds steady at 1 psid or higher, record number 1 check valve as tight.
2.8.
Test number 3, tightness of the number 2 check valve. Step number 1, Close test cock number 2 and test cock number 3. Step number 2, remove high and low hoses. Step number 3, attach high hose to test cock number 3. Step number 4, attach low hose to test cock number 4. Step number 5, open test cock number 3. Step number 6, open high valve, bleed the air, and close. Step number 7, open test cock number 4. Step number 8, open low valve, bleed the air, and close. Test results. Record the gauge value. If the differential gauge reading holds steady at 1 psid or higher, record number 2 check as tight.
2.8 again.
Restore the system. Step number 1, close all test cocks. Step number 2, remove hoses. Step number 3, open all valves on test kit to drain water. And step number 4, restore number 2 shutoff valve to pre-test state.